Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CDL podcast channel. In this episode today, as you can see by the screen if you're on YouTube, we're doing our bracket predictions. We're going to talk a little bit about the matches from this previous weekend before we dive into that. But this episode is going to be heavily focused on bracket predictions because it's that time of year. It is finally time for us to have a Call of Duty major for the first time since last June or July with champs. Very, very, very excited to jump into that. It's been way too long without a major. So without further ado, let's just jump into this one. If you guys enjoy, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Audio platforms, you know what to do. Drop the follow, drop the 5-star review. Super excited to get into this one today. Before we do that, Brock, how you doing today?
Oh, doing pretty good. Fine Monday, Not too cold here, for us at least.
Finally.
For most people, it's really cold still, but yeah. Pretty good, excited for this weekend, upcoming major, can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. I'm very, very, very excited to dive into everything. You really feel like we have like usual, the few favorites that are like the most likely for sure to win, but there are a lot of dark horses. I mean, I feel like a lot of people's favorites are Faze and Toronto coming into this major, but like you can't rule out New York. You can't rule out OpTic. Miami is on a little bit of a hot streak. As weird as it sounds, I think they have no chance, but Minnesota is on a run. LAG is somehow in winner's bracket. A lot of like weird teams. We feel like we have our solid teams at the top, but maybe some teams looking to pull off upsets. We got Miami taking the classic Florida spot and getting OpTic in winners round one.
Yep.
Can OpTic break that curse?
Hopefully, they can break the curse. But, the curse is very strong.
Yeah.
Ever since Dave Patty did what he did.
Yeah, Dave really messed up OpTic. That we should run them as something different.
For real.
All right. Before we jump into any matches from the weekend, I ended up pulling off the win over you, Brock, in our regular season point standings. Not because of a good week from me, but more because both of us just had bad weeks.
Yep. You can't win them all, So we'll go for next time and see if I can pull it out.
I mean, it honestly came down to that week 3. Like the other 2 weeks, I beat you by 1, then you beat me by 1. Then this week, you beat me by 2. It was that 1 week where I beat you by 7. I ended up with 40 points on the major 1 qualifiers, and Brock ended with 35, which honestly overall is pretty solid numbers from both of us. It just that week 3 where I just went kind of crazy was really the difference.
Yeah, you literally got like 2 wrong that week. 18
points. That was a big difference.
Yeah. We'll try next time.
Yeah, that was our only update for that, but that puts me in a position where I only need to win 1 more major to guarantee half the win, the tie there.
Yep.
But let's talk a little bit of matches from this weekend before this episode's mostly going to be focused on onto the bracket for both of us. But Friday was a weird day. It was all 3-0s. Minnesota came out in 3-0 Rocker. Minnesota 3-0'd LAG, which I think was a bit of a surprising result because at the time Minnesota was 1-4, and LAG, coming into the weekend they were 2-3, and we were feeling like okay about them. Like they had looked pretty good, but Minnesota kind of they came out. They handled business against LAG. It was finally a big series from Vivid, which we love to see. The sub duo of Minnesota played pretty well.
Yep. Yeah, I was gonna say, LAG, thought they had Minnesota beat, but Minnesota and that accuracy guy, don't count them out ever. Can never count them out.
It's just so weird because this weekend was a really weird weekend because I think it was like last week or 2 weeks ago, or really both weeks, that we kind of said, it seems like we're starting to figure things out. Like, I think we've got the CDL a little figured out. We're kind of figuring who our top 4 teams are. We feel like, this is like the block of teams in the middle, and these are the block of teams in the bottom. And Minnesota decided to screw that up. LAG decided to kind of screw with that. Miami decided to emphatically beat OpTic. Faze decided to destroy OpTic. New York looked a little vulnerable. It was a weird shake-up week. Speaking of Miami, they steamrolled OpTic on Friday.
Yep.
Was not close.
It was not close. Yeah, you're not wrong. So what's going on with OpTic right now? Who knows? Maybe they're so excited for LAN. They don't care about these last 2 matches.
It was a weird situation, but I mean, I don't know what to make of it. You know, the Faze match, they kind of got rolled there too. They started out that Faze match, the hard point on Invasion, really hot, and it was looking like, okay, they're going to take map 1, be all good here, be up 1-0, and then Shotzi had a chance to make an incredible play flanking on that Palace Hill. He
Yeah.
decided not to kill Cellium, and then it looked like he maybe slid, made a little noise, and Cellium like whipped around on him, but you know, he had to go for it. Also, he was going for, you know, the big play.
Home run play. Yeah. I was just gonna say that maybe OpTic didn't play to the best ability against Miami, since these players aren't so-called like the known players.
Yeah, which seems to be a problem with OpTic for a long time now. It's like when they are playing good competition, they maybe play up to that and they play very hard. And sometimes they tend to overlook other teams, which Heretics is a very good team. You can't be overlooking a team like that. And it didn't translate to them, then beating Faze, beating the good team, because then they also got beat by Faze. It was a rough weekend for OpTic. 0-6 map count.
Yeah, rough week, but I'm not scared for them at all, I have to say.
I'm not necessarily scared either. I'm a little scared that they have to play Heretics because of the Florida curse. They always seem to lose to them.
Yeah, they do. Then that's gonna be one tough loser bracket to get back to the top.
Yeah. Yeah, that will be very tough. Then that last match on Friday was Toronto kind of taking care of business with subliners. But I want to talk a little bit more about Saturday. Toronto then takes care of business with Vegas. They are looking like our second favorite, I would say, behind Faze heading into the weekend. And then Miami steamrolls Gorillas. But funny enough, even going 2-5, Gorillas still sneaks into the 8 seed. And they got what, 6-0 this weekend, right? Yeah, they got 6-0 this weekend, and they still were clinging on to that 8 seed and got it.
2-5 winners. I don't think they were winners at all last year.
Oh no way.
Glad to see they're up on the rise. 2-5, better than 0-5, 0-6 from last year.
Yeah, it's weird because we were like saying, no, they're 2-3, they have a good chance because they do play like Heretics and Minnesota. A good chance to take one of those teams out, if not both, secure winners bracket. And we're like, yeah, they're probably gonna need to win one to get to winners bracket. I did not think they'd be able to go 0-6 map count, 0-2.
Yeah,
and still make it, but here they are.
Yeah, love to see it, I guess. LEG on top.
Yeah. Then later on Saturday, Minnesota takes out Surge, which was a very big match because Minnesota was 0-4 and they rattled off 3 straight. They were the last winless team in the CDL, and they rattled off 3 straight, and they now find themselves in winners bracket. So huge for them. And then Faze, Carolina put up a very good fight against Faze, but Faze is able to pull it out on that Saturday night.
Yep. All I have to say is the last 2 matches for Rocker still. Awakening is struggling, seems like still. Not as normal self.
It's weird. It's like I don't know. It's like the subs have been playing pretty well. Like this weekend, they played pretty well again. And you're right. Awakening, he had a 0.9 again in like both series this weekend. His damage output was okay, but it's just not what we're used to seeing out of Big Wake. And who knows, maybe he'll have a different role in this team and he will be more of that like 1.0 guy and he'll do other stuff on the map. But it's just going to take some getting used to if that's the case, because that's just not what we're used to out of Big Wake.
Maybe they're fixing whatever, like last year, they call it more kill Torian. Maybe he's playing the correct way with accuracy and all that, getting W's.
Maybe. It's been translating recently in their matches, but it was rough early on.
Yeah. So at least they're winning.
Yeah, then Sunday we had, I don't even want to get into this too much because I want to start up with the bracket, but Sunday we had the little delay with the LA Thieves power outage.
Nation forgot to pay the bill.
Yeah, apparently. And then New York took out Boston in a very close and also controversial series. That was the whole slasher stair glitching incident. And then it was just a controversial Sunday because we had the stair glitching thing there. We had the power outage series 1 that caused a huge delay. Stair glitch in series 2, and then the ping thing in the OpTic series.
Yeah.
Where OpTic overall, like Kenny said when he tweeted, it didn't really matter. We got dominated, which Shotzi just was non-existent. Overall, the team Faze was clearly far and away the better team. Besides like the first half of map 1, Faze was easily the best team on the map at all times. It's a little weird. Maybe the the ping thing does matter. Obviously, if you're on 70 ping at the pro level and the other guys are on 10, it will make a difference, especially when you're, jumping back and forth. You might lag a little bit, but like they said, Faze kind of dominated them. I don't know that makes a difference if OpTic is on perfect ping or not, but a little concerning for OpTic to get 6-0'd on the weekend. But who knows? Maybe come to LAN and it could be different. I wouldn't be surprised. They are staring down a matchup with Faze in winners round 2 if they're able to take out Heretics, because I think Faze should be able to take out LAG unless we just start out crazy on the weekend.
Let's go crazy this weekend.
That would be an OpTic thing to do, though. Like LAG takes out Faze for you on your side of the bracket, and you could play LAG winners round 2, avoid Faze completely until finals maybe if you're able to make it there, and then they would lose to LAG or something.
Yeah, that would be an OpTic thing to do.
Or they would just they would lose to Heretics, so they couldn't even get to the LAG winners round 2.
Yeah, that does seem to be OpTic's formula recently.
Yeah, it's what they do for some reason. All right, you ready to get into your bracket? We're gonna have you go first. So the way we do this typically for our brackets, I got the bracket up on the screen here. If you're on YouTube, if not, we'll be sure to communicate to you if you're listening on Spotify or on any audio platform. But Brock does his bracket first. I do mine. If we had a third party, like a Kyle or somebody on here, it would be easier to do one bracket. The issue is it's really hard to decide how to move somebody on if Brock and so for this first matchup, Atlanta Faze versus Los Angeles Gorillas. If Brock and I are split, I don't know why we would be on this one.
Yeah.
But if Brock wants to support his LAG boys and I want Faze, it's really hard to settle those tiebreakers and a coin flip. I feel like it's kind of a dumb way to do it because it just takes out all logic. Then we're just completely chancing it. So we do separate brackets for each major. Just then you can compare, and then we'll both save them on our CDL account so we can see who got more points and stuff. So yeah, that's the way we do it. It's just easier that way. We can then both fully get exactly who we think is going to advance without any debate. Whereas if we had 3, it'd be just majority rules.
Yep.
But let's dive into it, Brock. We're gonna kind of let you take the floor. I'll fill out this bracket for you as we go. Let's start at the top with Faze versus Gorillas. You picking the major upset here?
Faze, always in winners bracket. Gorillas, first time here in a long time. Lights are too bright. 3-0 Faze. Go back to the losers where you belong.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be the most common pick here.
Yeah, I'm rooted for LAG, but Faze is a different beast.
I will say, more than usual, for this major one, I am kind of rooting for LAG here and maybe even Miami in the next one, although that one's a little more even. Then maybe Surge down here on the other side of the bracket, and even maybe Rocker. I want one or two of those teams to win because with the way it ended up splitting up, it's we got Toronto and New York and OpTic and Faze all in separate winners round 1 matches. So our top 4 could just easily find themselves all in winners round 2 playing each other. I do think it'd be fun if 1 or 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 somehow. I think it would be really fun if at least one of those was able to kind of shake it up and make sure our top 4 wasn't just sitting all in winners round 2.
Yeah. I like the randomness, but top 4 is pretty strong.
Yeah, but this next match here you're predicting Miami versus OpTic is probably the best chance we have for somebody to knock out. And we're saying our top 4, everybody knows what we're talking about there. The 4 teams that were viewed as the top 4 coming in. You can obviously make an argument that Heretics is better than OpTic right now. Their record shows they're better. They beat them 3-0. But we're just saying the hypothetical top 4 coming into the year. And I don't know, Brock, you think Heretics is able to get this done? This is probably our best chance to shake up that top 4 in winners round 2.
Man. I'm not going to go with the Vamos boys on this one. I'm going to trust Kenny, Dashi, Pred, and Shotzi on LAN. And I'm going to, Hecz is going to come out, win the hard point. OpTic, 3 straight after that. Get the head out of their ass, maybe.
Okay, a little 3-1 action.
Yep, 3-1.
I will be very interested if it goes that way to see how OpTic respond if they drop a map 1 right off the rip after having been 3-0'd twice this past weekend, and also one of them was to Heretics. If they drop that first map, it's oh shoot, we dropped 7 in a row now. We dropped 4 in a row to Heretics. Will they respond? As a newly put together team, 2 new players, I believe they will. I have no reason to believe that guys that are all champions, couple rings on the squad, and Shotzi and and Kenny. I have no reason to believe that these guys won't bounce back after something like that, but it will be interesting to see how their composure is for the first time as a team on LAN.
Yeah, see the resilience.
Yeah. All right.
Like,
Let's move down to that bottom part of the bracket or of winners round 1 at least here. We got Toronto and Surge, Brock. This is an interesting one, I think. I mean, Toronto looks very good right now, but Surge are certainly a team with upset potential.
mm-hmm. I'm gonna go with Toronto. 3-1 it is for me. Surge is gonna, win the control.
Okay. I mean, I do think if they were maybe playing somebody more like OpTic or New York who look a little shaky right now, or Toronto looks very strong, Surge might be able to pull off this upset, but they had the players, Arcitys, Illy, Hook, Abezy with the upside. They do have the players to pull off an upside. I won't be shocked if they do.
Yeah. They got the world champions, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I just think Toronto with the, like I always say, the pickup they had this offseason just fits too well.
Yeah, it was the most obvious and biggest just 1-for-1 upgrade that really any team had for the most part.
Yeah, I just love that upgrade.
Yeah, just paying off very well. Besides the one little hiccup they had, they're 6-1.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Then the team that they gave their only loss to is next in the New York Subliners, facing off against the Minnesota Rocker. Who you got in that one?
I'm going Subliners 3-0. Pretty, handily. I just haven't seen enough from Big Wake yet. He's the guy supposed to be slaying. And, New York's a slay-heavy team with the addition to Sib.
Yeah, it feels like that's kind of the positive on New York is like when they play some of these lower teams, like I feel like if they're playing a team like Surge, like with, Hook, Illy, Abezy, Arcitys, like that's maybe a lower tier team that could keep up with the slaying ability. But Minnesota, with the way Wake has looked this year, and accuracy typically isn't too strong in that department. Vivid can be a little inconsistent. Linz looks very good, but you've got a couple inconsistent players, and then Wake and a down year so far. And when you got Hydra and Sib and Skies and the Bulldog shooting at you, it can get overwhelming if you don't shoot back right away. They can just outslay you, which is kind of a new aspect to them. Obviously, like they could easily do that last year, but Sib brings a little more slaying than the P-Dog did for the team last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when your worst player is, technically, I guess I would say, for me, like Skies, and he's still really good at slaying.
Yeah.
Problem for these lower teams.
Yeah, when it's hard. It's a debate. It's like when your worst slaying player is Skies, who's a pretty solid player.
Pretty good, yes.
That's your worst. It's pretty good. And I mean, when you're also saying that Sib is like probably your second best, that's also pretty good because I trust Sib to kind of be like the main kill horror kind of player for almost any team.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to rank out ahead of a lot of players in the CDL, and he's got a guy like Hydra who might be the best at just purely going out and getting kills, clearing space on the map for his team. And it's still like this team looked a little shakier this weekend, I guess, because Toronto kind of did roll over them pretty easy. But like, oh boy, it gets to LAN as long as the Priesta communication isn't too crucial from last year, which it definitely could be. Priesta is a big loss in that department, and let's not act like Priesta has no gun skill either and can't shoot back. But yeah, this New York team is good. Their sub duo still to me, just like it fits so perfect. The Kismet Hydra duo is just so good.
Yeah, man, so good. PB and J.
It is. It seriously, they're always up there. Like Simp and Abezy, you get all the credit, but Hydra and Kismet, man, they're right up there as top sub duos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, let's drop on down to losers bracket now, Brock. This leaves us to start out the losers bracket here with the Battle of LA. LAG, LAT. We know who owns this series typically. LAG typically dominates the series.
They do. And I'm going to give LAG the edge here in a 3-2, game 5. I'll just make it go round 11. W to pull out.
Yeah, I have some thoughts on LA Thieves, but I'm gonna save it for when I make my bracket predictions. But I don't think that's a bad pick there, picking LAG.
Yeah, I'll bet. LA Thieves, I really wanted this team to be good, but they haven't shown me much besides beating Carolina and
their hardpoint is just so bad. They're the worst hardpoint team.
I don't know how they're so bad at hardpoint with the players they got.
No, like they shouldn't. Like I don't know that they should be like the best hardpoint team, but they shouldn't be the worst.
Yeah. Aren't they like 1-8 or 1-9 hard
It's
point?
something abysmal like that. They are just, and they look like their setups don't make any sense. Like it's just horrible. I don't know what I'm watching because they feel like a team that should be at least like average at hardpoint because they have some players in their team like Afro can get those kills. Cammy, we know, can do it. Like I trust Joe Deceives. Ghosty, we saw big time last year. OpTic was so good at hardpoint with Ghosty. Just
Mm-hmm.
feels like this team should be at least able to like kind of settle in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, but, tough for now.
All right. Next match, Brock. Miami versus Vegas. You think Miami somehow comes out and gets double first rounded after such a strong showing in the qualifiers, or they can be able to take out Vegas?
I think Miami comes back, has the poise. And I'm going to pick another game 5, Miami. And
All right.
attach just isn't enough. I want him to be good, but, his team's not doing too well.
This is a scary spot, though, for the loser of that Miami versus OpTic match.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of all, like, the random teams, like, I feel pretty confident playing, like, LAT down here. I wouldn't mind, going to the bottom and playing Carolina, but Vegas is a little bit scary because, like, with the players they have, like Attach and the OpTic Killer, like a clutch player on land. Purge looks to be very good at search and destroy. This team overall looks to be very good in search and destroy. And when it comes down to it, that Nero and Standy subduo could really pop off in any random series on land and just take over. And all of a sudden, you've got the veteran Attach, a subduo popping off, and an S&D star and Purge. And this team could be dangerous. They're a sneaky team.
Yeah, I really wouldn't want to play this team knowing the players they have.
No, they're one of the last 2 picks for me. Of the 4 teams, they're one of the bottom 2 I don't want to play.
Yeah.
If I get eliminated in winners round 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, Brock. Then we move to the bottom side of the bracket, the all the way bottom. Surge Breach. This is probably the most brutal spot. The loser of that Surge Toronto matchup there has to fall down to Boston Breach, who honestly, despite their record, have overall looked pretty good at times. They look pretty good this weekend against New York. What do you think here? This is going to be a solid team that we would not expect to bow out top 12, that bows out top 12 here, regardless of who wins. Even if Toronto go down here, obviously we'd be shocked to see them get bounced out top 12. Boston would be a shocker, and Surge would also be a shocker.
Mm-hmm. Man, I have another game 5. I like picking game 5s apparently now.
Okay.
And I'm going with Boston to take it out. Maybe round 9 Surge, not round 11. This seems like a theme from last year.
Yeah.
Arcitys, just not getting his way.
This is brutal because I'm assuming I'm probably going to have Surge drop down to losers as well. But these are 2 teams that I like. I like both rosters still. I still have faith in Boston. I've liked Surge since preseason. Like, these are 2 teams I could see making a little noise to like make like a top 6 run or something.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very scared of this matchup because I think whatever team you knock out could be poised to make a top 6 or a top 4 run potentially. So you could really screw. I think this could be the matchup that really screws up your bracket if you get it wrong.
Yeah, 100%. And Flash on land is pretty reliable.
Yeah, and especially in losers bracket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and and Snoopy and crew. Yeah.
Well, and look, like we can have you make your next prediction now here in the losers bracket, but the winner of this one is going to play the winner of likely Minnesota versus Carolina, which is a very winnable match, and all of a sudden you're in top 6.
Yeah,
if you're able to beat that team, like the winner of this, you don't want to be the person that drops down into this, but like for Seattle, you end up probably getting the most favorable matchup in losers bracket if you end up winning, unless for some reason New York drops down and loses to Minnesota.
Yeah,
you get a favorable matchup here. But who you got? You got Boston having to square off against Carolina or Minnesota down here?
I have Minnesota beating Carolina right now, 3-0. Wipe them.
3-0.
We'll see Clay later. Got a couple new players technically on their team.
Yeah, they've looked a little bit better with Fellow and TJ though. Like everything seems to be closer and clicking a little more. It's just Fellow needs to pick it up a little bit in the respawns.
Yeah, I think this is really the game where if it goes the way I'm going this bracket, Awakening will have a big game.
Finally, kind of shows up to the wake we know.
Yep.
Okay, let's jump up to the top of elimination round 2 here again. Let's go LAG Heretics. Brock, two of your teams. Who you got?
Man, this is where LEG's run comes to a close, and they get wiped off the floor by Miami in a 3-0 fashion.
Okay.
Not even close.
Okay. Sad to see LAG go, but I understand.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for showing up. You started in the winners for the first time.
You won a
Not
match for the
know
first time in a while.
won a match too. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
You know, go on to the next major, practice some more.
Honestly, I'd top eight's probably better than a lot of us thought what they would do in Major One coming into the year.
Yeah, I thought for sure dead last, top top 12.
Yeah, me too. Then we got Boston Breach, Minnesota Rocker in the bottom. Like I said, the winner of that Surge Breach match, if that's what it is, has a chance to make a little bit of a run here. You think Boston's going to get it done, or are Minnesota going to continue their little run here?
I think Minnesota wins game one. Pretty,
Okay.
pretty, not like pretty handily, I'd say actually. Yeah, comes out hot. Boston goes back to search, play the slasher search. It picks. 3-1 Boston. That's how it goes.
Okay, I like it because I do think chance to make a run down there. Gonna
Mm-hmm.
move us back on up to the top of the bracket here though, and in winners round two, Brock, you picked it to be a Faze OpTic matchup. What you thinking?
Man, I don't. I never know what ways to pick for these teams. Because, it seems to always switch up.
Well, now you're all confused because Faze really looked better, and Faze it looks like the best team in the game right now.
Yeah, and I like both Kenny and Draza. Like, oh, so good.
Yeah, a tough one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Faze. They're 7-0 for a reason.
Yeah.
3-1. OpTic will take the game two search.
Okay. And then in the other bottom part here, you got Toronto versus New York. Who you got there?
Man, it's like last year. Toronto and New York always seems to find a way to play if this bracket goes the way I want it to go. And it
Yeah.
all. I feel like it always goes game 5 too, and it can be either way every time.
Yeah, this is a toss-up match. I mean, a revenge game. I know like a couple players have switched. One player on each side has switched, but it's tough. It's tough to go either way. It's a revenge game for one, a prove it game for the other.
Hmm. I'm gonna go with Toronto 3-2. I like their team makeup more,
Okay.
even though subliners are still really good.
Okay, Toronto 3-2. I'm gonna have you do the winners finals right away before we move back down into losers.
Yeah,
What you thinking here? Phase Ultra?
man, this is gonna be a good matchup. If this happens.
It's probably our coming to the tournament. What most people would say is the top two teams right now.
Yep. Well, of course, I gotta go game 5. Both teams really, really good.
Very
I'm
good, yeah.
I'm gonna go game 5. Toronto takes it the edge, and Envoy has like 12 kills in the search.
Okay. You think Toronto takes it 3-2?
Yep, 3-2.
I like it. I think that's different. I think a lot of people are just gonna be kind of shooing in the Phase boys into the finals from winner's side.
Hmm. Yeah. Either way, it'll be a great game to watch.
Oh yeah, it'll be a really good match. Brock, then we go down to losers. Subliners Heretics, a pretty good team getting eliminated here, top 6.
Hmm.
Honestly, with the teams that shake out down here, really, I think you've almost picked our top 6. Obviously, that Boston spot would be debatable with a few other teams, but
Yeah.
I would say 6 pretty good teams overall in your top 6. 2 of them going home. You think it's New York or Miami in that first one?
Vamos. Sorry to say, time is up in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
The team you're gonna play just has more firepower overall. And I'll give you one map though. I'll give you the control. 3-1 subliners.
Okay. I like it. I think that's a pretty accurate pick. And then we go down to the bottom, Brock. Does OpTic bow out top 6 and have a lot of questions about their roster? Or are they able to push it forward into the top 4 spot and push it into Championship Sunday? Who's their last team joining them in Championship Sunday?
OpTic loss against Faze up there. Come back down, regroup next day. 3-0 OpTic. Pred has a huge game.
3-0 OpTic.
They
Okay.
find their footing in elimination round 3.
Okay, then that brings us to Sunday, where OpTic's got some momentum coming in after a 3-0 against Boston, and they're playing New York Subliners.
Mm-hmm. And this is where OpTic, they bow out in a close game 5. They're still, and it's Predator versus Sib. I just realized.
Yeah, it's weird. You're not used to those people being split up.
I know, yeah. And this is where OpTic has some flashbacks from last year. Mikado with Sib with the 1v3. Send him home.
Yeah,
He's gonna do it again. He'll have a good 1.3 overall game here.
I think Simpson's ball. What was the map count you said?
3-2.
Okay,
Close games.
that sends Subliners to the elimination finals versus Faze. You think Faze, our 7-0 team, is able to make it to finals? You got Subliners pulling it off to get a little champs rematch.
I'm just trying to make these predictions. I do manifest them. A lot of 3-2s.
Yeah,
Which I don't think it will happen. But yeah,
it's so random. Like sometimes the tournament fills up with 3-0s and it's like the worst, and then sometimes it's just like all 3-2s, and you're like, what is going on?
The best is just every match 3-2. See who has the ice.
Yeah, see who breaks down.
Yeah. And this is another game 5. Shocking for me. It seems to be the trend right now.
Yeah.
Faze pulls it out from a big search and destroys from Draza both games.
Okay. I was thinking maybe you'd go champs finals rematch.
Nope. Not this time around.
And that leaves us, Brock, with Toronto versus Faze. We have a best of 7 final here, as weird as that is. We're switching from, the best of 9s, best of 7. What you thinking? Who's taking it all?
I'm thinking Toronto comes up high, goes up 2-0. Faze comes back, wins 2, evens the series, and then Toronto wipes the 4, 2 maps in a row, and wins 4-2.
You're like a Toronto over Faze.
Yep, Toronto over Faze.
I think they're taking them out twice in this tournament. That would be an impressive win for Toronto if that happens.
I think so. Scrappy and the boys, they get it done. They win the major one, but not champs.
Okay. I like it. I'll make sure you save this bracket. We'll see how many points you get. Hopefully you end up winning. I think there's a cash prize involved. I like it. I think it's interesting too, because I feel like you go a lot different than a lot of people are going to have, because I'm going to guess that most people are not going to have anybody besides Faze winning, because they are definitely like probably the hot pick right now. I like it. All right.
Yep.
I'm going to jump into my bracket quick. I don't want to keep everybody here too long.
Let's hear it. LAG upset. Let's hear it.
I might go pretty similar to you. I try to rack my brain, pull for upsets. I don't really consider there to be an upset potential in the OpTic versus Miami series right now, because OpTic is the lower seed. Miami just beat them. Technically, like the Miami winning would probably technically be an upset, just because like when you look at the rosters, like OpTic is such a star-studded roster, and Miami is maybe more of a bit unheralded, even though they're very good.
Yep.
So they might be more of an upset, but I don't know. It's very tough to pick upsets in this winners bracket for the other 3 matches, especially. I think Faze comes out. I agree with you. I think they steamroll LAG 3-0. I think that's just an absolute mismatch. Faze is 7-0. There's no reason to believe that LAG would be the team to change that, especially on land.
Yeah.
Then you go into the next match. It's Miami. It's OpTic. It is a tough one. You went with OpTic. I kind of agree that OpTic will be the team to pull it out, but I am very scared of Miami. The Florida curse is real. Maybe since they're not the Mutineers anymore, OpTic will pull it off. But if OpTic would have had even a close series against Heretics, where it would have gone to like a map 5 and they would have just lost in a weird fashion, like 6-4 map 5 or 6-5 map 5 or something, I'd feel a little more confident. But it is very scary that they got 3-0'd.
Yeah.
Makes it scary to pick them against Miami. I'm going to do it, though. I think it goes to a game 5. I think this is a nerve-wracking series. I think they're just splitting maps back and forth. I think it goes like round 10, potentially round 11. I'm going to say OpTic pulls it out 3-2, though, but I do not feel confident in that pick.
Yeah. I like it. I was going to say Miami. All Miami has to do is, call Dave Pettit and tell him to go to the major.
Yeah, when they do their walkout, have him like walk out instead of the coach and hype up the crowd.
Yeah, that'd be so funny.
He should be there for the Challengers LAN.
Yeah, he's probably gonna win it too. Dave Petty on top.
I think he has a pretty good team. I think he has Temp on his team now.
Ooh, Tampa Dave Petty duo. We'd love
Yeah.
to see that.
Yeah. Well, maybe they'll bring him out because they're all for the memes.
Yeah.
All right. Toronto versus Surge. I tried to think maybe is there an upset path, and I do think there is. You know, you've got Illy, you've got Hook, you've got Arcitys, you've got Abezy. There's a lot of talent there. You got the three good vets and the one young rookie. I think the formula for success here is the Hook and Abezy duo goes kind of crazy, and you get really good search play out of Illy, and you're able to maybe sneak out a game 5. I just don't think that's going to happen here. I do think it's going to end up being maybe closer than we think. I think Toronto is going to edge them out, but I think it's going to be 3-2. I think Surge are going to get a couple maps on the board and make it interesting. Like I think they lose like a 6-4 map 5.
Okay.
And Toronto kind of has to sweat out round 1.
Okay. Like it. Definitely could happen.
Then we go down to New York versus Rocker. I really want to say Rocker get on track here. I just don't think they do. I think Subliners are going to beat them 3-0 here. I think New York's going to come out, punch them in the mouth and the hard point, and it's going to be like, okay, Rocker, you got to win this search to give yourself a chance. I think they lose the search, and I think from there on, New York just finishes them out in the control in a 3-0 fashion.
Yeah. Seems like the play for everyone's going to be.
The Minnesota team, just because they've won 3 in a row, gives me a little bit of hesitation. That's like the only thing in that match that gives me hesitation. The fact that Minnesota is a little hot now.
Yeah.
Now we got the Battle of LA. I know you picked a 3-2 for LAG here.
Yep.
I struggle to see where LAT is going to win a map unless, Shane claims that in their scrims, their hardpoint's excellent, but that's like the least likely thing to believe because people always say in scrims we look amazing, but we suck in matches. But hard to believe that because most of the time it's not true. So I struggle to see how LAT is going to beat them in a hardpoint because they are horrible at it. I kind of don't know what to do with the search and destroy and the control. Like I could see either team winning either one. LAG has already beat them. I like LAG here, and I think I like them. I think I'm going to pick LAG to 3-0 Thieves. I don't know. I want to give Thieves a map, but I just don't see them winning the hardpoint, and I don't think they're going to win the search either. So at that point, I guess I'm just going to I kind of want to just pick a 3-0 and go bold and say LAG are going to get that done because I just don't have faith in this Thieves team like I did coming into the year. They're just not good. Especially at hardpoint. I think what would be big in this series, though, is if LAG can come out and like take the fact that Thieves is good at hardpoint and like punch him in the mouth like a 250 to 120 or something. Like really blow them out in the map 1 and then like kind of carry that momentum.
Yeah. Definitely can happen.
All right. I'm kind of picking with you here. I'm kind of picking chalk with you. I like Miami again in this next series against Vegas. However, I think this one's going to go to a map 5. I like Vegas to force the map 5, and it's really hard for me to pick Miami to win a map 5 against them because I love this Vegas team in search, no matter what their record shows ever, even if they're like showing they're one of the worst teams, showing they're one of the best, middle of the pack, whatever in search. With a guy like Purge, who's an S&D star, and with Dylan attached, and I like Nero and Standy's aggressiveness. I like this team in search, so it's hard for me to pick against them in a map 5, but I'm going to say Miami gets it done 3-2 because I do think Miami is just flat out the better team here overall.
Yeah. Close matches.
All right. Bottom 2 here. Surge Breach. Like I said, I believe the winner of this one has a chance to make a big run. And I'm going to disagree with you here for the first time in the bracket. I think Surge are going to get done.
Okay.
I think we see another map 5. I think Surge get it done. And I think they're poised to make a run here. I like their team makeup a little more. Although I think this, like I said, for you, I think this could be the part that screws up my bracket too. Because I think the winner of this will probably get top 6 and potentially even top 4.
Yeah.
All right, in the bottom match, what are you gonna say?
I'll say Arcitys versus the guy who stole a spot on Faze last year.
Yeah, I guess I didn't even think of that.
Yep.
That bottom match, you went in Minnesota here, right? What, like 3-0, I think?
3-0. Wiped them.
I'm gonna disagree with you. I think Carolina's gonna take it 3-1. I don't know why I think this. Minnesota is the hotter team right now, winning 3 in a row. But something I've seen from Carolina in these last few matches, I like. They haven't been winning. They haven't looked incredible, but TJ has looked pretty good. And overall, with TJ and Fellow in, they're overall game, they just look a lot more competitive. It seems like Clay is a little bit more unlocked with Fellow next to him. It seems like Clay is more comfortable. And that's a big deal because, as we know, Clay in tournaments on LAN, his teams tend to show up a little bit better, even if they aren't good. Like last year, they were at least a lot more competitive when it came to LAN. They show up. We know Clay's going to play well. I trust him to always play well. I also, as weird as it sounds, like I like TJ a lot. I always have. I think Gwyn is an excellent player. He's really shown that he has superstar potential. I think you're gonna be able to see like a guy like Gwyn carry, and I think TJ's gonna step up. I do also think Fellow's gonna step up on LAN. For those of you that have been watching COD for a while, you know Fellow is a pretty good LAN player if he's on the right team. His Elevate teams back in BO3 were always making runs. They sucked online, and then they would make a run to top 2, top 3 in all the events. Even last year, his Florida team in that last LAN looked pretty good when they got everything sorted out. He's a very good S&D player. I don't know. There's something about this team I kind of like on LAN.
I like it. Feeling like Teej, baby.
I think he's going to have a good weekend. I like this team to be able to potentially make a run on the back of Search and Destroy too. Fellow and TJ are very good Search players, and Clay's teams tend to be pretty good at Search. And Gwyn is just a kind of like that play that you used to always talk about on, what was that, Tuscan Control, Shotsy Go Kill. Yep. Like we joked about that play when he was like going off on that, the stage they won. They can kind of have that play in their back pocket. They have 3 really good Search and Destroy players, and then Gwyn is kind of just your X factor and could just pop off.
Okay.
Heading back up to the top of elimination round 2 here, LAG, Miami Heretics. Man, I want to go LAG here and pick some more upsets, but I'm going to go with Miami here. I think they're able to take them out in a 3-1 fashion. I do like this LAG team, but Miami is just a different beast right now. They're just flat out better.
Yep.
Oh, man, Brock. Here's where I go to, where I have a really tough spot. I like the Surge team. I like both these teams to have run potentials. Surge is obviously the more clear pick here.
Feeling like Teej again?
Carolina's 1-6, but I think they're going to pull out a Map 5 here. I think Carolina is going to make a mini run here in this tournament. I think they're going to pull out a Map 5 and beat Surge.
Okay, I like that.
They're 1-6. They should have no business winning any matches. They're starting losers round 1. I just feel like they're like watching these last couple matches. I feel like they're on the cusp of something. They were really good against Faze. They didn't look nearly as good in their next match this weekend, but they feel like they're like, I don't know. I just think on LAN, Fellow's going to get a little better. And I think that's like the only thing this team needs right now. Clay's been good. TJ's been good. Gwyn's been really good. They just needed a little bit more out of Fellow. And I think they'd be good. I think he's going to settle into this team. I think they're going to practice hard this week. I just really think they're going to ride Search and Destroy. I think they're going to Neslo. I don't know, because I don't know if I trust their control. I actually think they're probably going to win 2-4-5.
Okay.
In this one. 2 searches in the last hard point and beat Seattle 3-2. And my confidence level in that is about 1%. I just can't believe I decided to pick Carolina to make top 6 after they went 1-6.
You feeling like Teej, baby.
I love Teej. I love Fellow. I just love the players in this team. And I'm a big fan of Gwyn. He's a very good player.
Yeah. You know, definitely could happen.
Yeah, and now they're going to get 3-0'd by Rocker and loses round 1. And I'll be like, yeah, I should just pick that because Carolina sucks. I don't know. I just feel like on LAN, this team might change a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. We've got Faze versus OpTic here. All logic tells you to pick Faze. They beat OpTic 3-0. They're 7-0. They are clearly the best team in the game right now. There's really no debate. Faze is the best team right now. There are teams that could certainly beat them and win this tournament, but they are the undisputed best team right now. And I think they're going to display that. I think they're going to beat OpTic in a 3-2 fashion here. The only thing I would argue for OpTic is obviously maybe a little bit different set of players, but overall the past few years, the Shotzzy and Dashy led team in whatever fashion has fared very well against Faze.
It has.
Post Cold War. Vanguard on, they fared very well.
Okay.
I'm going to move on to the second match where it's the rematch of champs finals from last year, like we said. Toronto versus New York. I really, really, really want to put a Toronto win here after they dominated New York, but I don't know. I just think something is telling me New York's going to take them out in a 3-1 fashion. Like I think Toronto's going to win the hard point, and then I think New York's going to punch them in the mouth somehow and win 3 straight. As weird as that sounds, I think Toronto is the better team right now, but I just think something's going to click from New York, and they're going to want to establish that dominance over Toronto again. And I don't know. Toronto is the more safe pick here. I'm feeling something good about New York, so I'm taking them 3-1.
Okay, yep. Damn, it could go either way. Two top teams.
Yeah, it's a toss up. It's really who's shooting better on the day.
Yeah. Who do you trust more, really?
Which, to be honest, I probably trust Toronto more, but my gut's telling me to pick New York.
hmm
And then we've got a brutal match here in elimination round 3. A good team is going home top 6. That's Ultra versus Miami. I like Ultra to win this one. I think they are far too good to bow out top 6, although Miami is also a very good team. So this is a scary spot for Ultra to drop into. I think they take them out 3-1, though, and they move on to our top 4 into Sunday. And then on the bottom of the bracket, we've got OpTic versus Carolina. A scary spot for OpTic from the fact that it's like, how the hell is Carolina here
Yeah.
playing for Sunday? And why are we playing them? It's almost like a trap match that you could look past. However, I think they do get it done. I think this is where Carolina kind of comes to a screeching halt. I think OpTic 3-0s them.
Yep.
Pretty dominating fashion, too. I think it's a pretty clean 3-0. Maps aren't too close.
Yeah, this is where, Carolina, runs out of gas, so what you say, and, the overall better team, more talent.
But hey, if you were to tell the Carolina boys that they're going to finish top 6 this event, like based on where they are right now, I don't think they'd be too upset with that.
No, they'd take it. They would be happy.
Yeah, they'd actually get some decent CDL points on the board compared to what they probably thought they were going to get.
Yeah. And you get more CDL points this year, too.
Yeah. All right. First match of Sunday, that losers semi-final. Toronto versus OpTic. Can OpTic get their revenge? Toronto, for most of the CDL, seems to have their number. I think that continues in this one. I think Toronto knocks them out. I was going to say 3-1, but I think this one's going to go Mat 5. I think OpTic's going to keep it very close, but hard to pick them. I just have more faith in Toronto right now. OpTic has looked a little more shaky.
Mm-hmm.
Then we move up into the winners finals. Faze subliners. I like Faze to beat them. I think they're going to come out and dominate subliners in this winners final. I think it's going to be a 3-0.
Okay.
I think they move into the finals. I don't know that's going to be a dominant 3-0, I guess I shouldn't say that. I think it's going to be a close 3-0, but I think they're going to win all 3 maps. And just quick fashion like that, but I think it maybe like 250 to 200, like a 6-4, and then like most control maps, a 3-2.
Yep. Okay. Could go
All
either
right.
way, but like it.
Elimination finals. The champs rematch is back. Subliners took out Ultra and sent them to losers bracket earlier. I think Ultra gets their revenge. I think they beat New York in a game 5 this time and knock them out. Going to be a lot of trash talk on the stage if that does happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wrong.
Because I don't think that Toronto's too big of a fan of this New York team. I think they want their revenge bad, and I think they get it here 3-2, which leaves me with the same finals as you, Faze versus Ultra. I'm going to have to disagree with you here, though. I think Faze are going to take it. I think they're going to take it 4-2.
I like it.
I just think they're the best team in the game right now. And it would be an incredible run if they do this the way that I picked them to do that, because they'd have an undefeated split, all online matches, all LAN matches won, and they would have the literal maximum amount of points they could have gotten in the split for stage 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely could do it. The players they have are just, so good together.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be the most common pick. So people are going to be like, oh, boring pick. But it's so hard to pick against them. They're just so good, so consistently good. And like their map count is absurd this year. They're just such a good team. It's hard to pick against them.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think of any team that could match up against them in finals, I do think Ultra is the best chance to give them a run for their money.
Yeah, I agree. I just, Jazza to Faze is just such a good pickup for them. Even though I wanted Jazza to OpTic, man.
And if they make this run and end up winning this major, it's going to be a scary outlook for them potentially having a historic year in COD history, because if they win this, that means they lost at most 1 match. So they're going to finish 10-1, potentially even better if they get knocked into elimination bracket earlier and have to win more matches. They're going to finish 10-1 or 10-0 or 11-1, 12-1, whatever it could be. They're going to finish with some extra wins in there from going to losers or just run it 10-0.
Yeah.
And with a major win on their resume, they're basically going to have champs, like a spot at champs, locked up. They're not technically mathematically going to have it locked up, I'm sure, but if they go 10-0 with the major win on there and everything, and the fact that they're Atlanta Faze, they're going to win plenty more matches. Like they're probably going to minimum go 4-3, even if they get first rounded at every tournament, they're probably going to win enough online matches to qualify for champs. They probably wouldn't have to win another LAN match all year because they're that good.
It literally they don't have to show up for LANs and they'd still make it.
Probably because they'll just win all their online matches.
Yeah. I would say if they do go, like you say, like 10-0, what if a team like won all their games and didn't drop a map for a whole like qualifier?
What would their points be?
No, just like they don't drop a map at all with all their games. Like map count, they don't drop a map at all throughout the whole qualifiers. That'd be like insane.
Yeah, that would be absurd.
But if I had to pick any team, I guess I'd pick Faze.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's for sure. Any team that was the most likely to do it, it'd definitely be them.
Yeah. But you just like going to the stands, and if it actually happened, just looking at that'd be so insane.
Yeah, you're not wrong. All right. You got anything else before we wrap up? A pretty long episode. We're just under an hour here. Bracket predictions always the best time of year, though. The episodes write themselves, and they're always extremely fun to talk about. And then you look back on them, and like we'll look back on them, and we'll be like, "Man, it was obvious Faze won. Why didn't you pick them?" Or I'll be like, I could have seen the writing on the wall with Toronto pulling off an upset. Or I'll be looking back like, "Why did I pick Carolina top 6? That was obvious." Or I'll look like a genius when they randomly do it.
Yeah. No, I got nothing else really besides, excited to watch these games happen, see who has the ice, who gets nervous on LAN, some of these new players, if they got the ice or not. Excited for that.
It is going to be a great viewing weekend this weekend because we've also got conference championships in football. I'm planning to have friends over, going to be watching COD, going to be watching the conference championships. That is like Sunday is like the ultimate viewing day. It's a good lineup. Going to have the multi TV setup. Going to have COD on one TV, watching championship Sunday. Going to be watching the conference championships for football. It is a very good day for viewing.
Yep. I got one more thing to say. Go Lions.
Yeah, I'm cheering for the Lions. My sister is a really big Lions fan. So I've been cheering for the Lions the whole playoff since my team is not currently in there. And I'm in a bracket prediction for work, and my bracket is currently perfect.
Nice.
I've picked every game right so far. I don't know how I picked the Packers, like jokingly as an upset because like I sit right next to a Cowboys fan whenever I'm in the office. So I'm like jokingly, picking the Packers, picked the whole first round correctly. I was like, whatever. And then I was nervous during that Packer game because it looked like they were going to win. Niners pulled it out, and I had both 1 and 3 seeds in both conferences in there. And my Super Bowl, I picked Chiefs Lions. So I'm not feeling great because the Ravens look pretty damn good right now, but I also picked with Patrick Mahomes, which is never a bad thing.
Yeah. I would say if that actually does happen to Chiefs and Lions, that was the first game of the season, Chiefs versus Lions.
Yeah. First game and last game.
Yep. That'd be crazy.
I'm not feeling too confident though, because for some reason I've never I'm not a Brock Purdy fan. I don't think he's that good. And I love the Lions team. I'm cheering for them. And it was just Patrick Mahomes, so I'm like, screw it. I'll bet with him. But I will admit, I do think the Lions are going to beat the Niners. I do think that's going to happen. But I'm very nervous about the Chiefs beating the Ravens because the Ravens look like the best team in football right now, in my opinion. I think they're the best team.
Yeah. The Ravens like destroyed like the Lions, all like the top teams, Niners this year.
Yeah.
So it'll be good games, that's for sure.
Yeah, I agree. All right. I got nothing else though. If you're ready to wrap it up.
Yeah, good to wrap it up.
All right. If you guys enjoyed this one, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. If you're on the audio platforms, drop a follow, drop a 5-star review. We really appreciate you guys supporting. These are always the most fun videos. These are usually videos, podcasts that get a lot of traction on both audio platforms and YouTube, just because understandably that's what people have the most interest. With the majors, it's the most interesting time to watch the CDL. Much more fun than watching the regular season matches. So Hopefully you guys tune in. Hopefully you have a good time watching this weekend. And we will see you next week with our reactions to the major. Hopefully some shocking things happen. It'll make it a lot more fun to talk about. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.